Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second of our two student learning objective webinars. Tonight, you will have the pleasure of hearing Dr. Caroline Kuchinski. She is a professor at East Stroudsburg University, and she will take you through a practical approach of using these student learning objectives that will be part of the teacher evaluation for next year as part of the new teacher effectiveness plan that the state of Pennsylvania has adopted. In physical education, this will be 35% of your overall evaluation for your teaching next year. Before we do get started and I turn the program over to Caroline, I'd like to remind you that the convention will be happening in the fall. It's November 21st through the 23rd. We're returning to the great western side of the state, and Seven Springs Mountain Resort will be the place. And if you've never been to Seven Springs, you're missing a wonderful, wonderful place to go. It's a great place to bring family and friends and get some professional development under your belt as well. So that will be in the fall, November 21st through the 23rd. If you'd like to submit a program, it's kind of last minute, but certainly do throw it in there. And, we do lose some people from time to time, and we could certainly see if we can accept your program. If you or any of your colleagues have any ideas that you'd like to be a part of our convention here in the fall. We are going to try to do, I believe, one, maybe two more webinars this year. The first one will be a town hall meeting. I'll be announcing that probably in the next 2 weeks. It will take place probably mid-April, and what that will be is for anybody who's a member or non-member. It's kind of an anything goes format. We'll run it kind of like political debates, where we'll have a question and answer session with our presidents, past presidents, as well as our executive director. And then it will be an open forum for you to ask questions, offer us suggestions here at Pennsylvania AFERD, because we are here to serve you, the membership, as well as our non-members, in advocating for this wonderful profession that we're all a part of. So town hall meetings will be coming up on the webinar software, just like you see here, probably in a couple of weeks, mid-April. We'll get through tax day, excuse me, and then we will schedule that. So that's coming up, and we may have one more surprise for you before the year's over. And also, if you do have any suggestions for webinar subjects that you would like to see, I'm going to put my email here in the chat box over to the side in a little bit. And if you would like to be a part of that, certainly do not hesitate to send me an email and suggest some topics. If you have some speakers that you think would be great, please send those to me as well. Let me just run through real quick with the Adobe Connect software, just so that you know how to use it. If you look up at the top in the green bar, there's a little person. It looks like a person with their hand up. If you use that drop-down arrow, there's a way you could raise your hand for a question, although it's probably easier just to type questions over in the chat box. If you have agree, disagree, or anything like that, you can use those. If you feel like Caroline is not speaking loud enough or needs to turn her volume down, you can let us know with that. Speed up, slow down, applause, and when she inserts a few jokes tonight, don't be afraid to show that laughter sign as well. So that drop down over there is for you. If you do have any questions throughout the evening, do not hesitate to put them into the chat box. We probably get to them. We have a few section breaks set up, and we'll be happy to stop and get those questions answered as much as we possibly can tonight. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, she is a professor once again at East Stroudsburg University and a multi-award winner here in Pennsylvania AFERD, and we just love having her as part of our webinar series here at Pennsylvania AFERD. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Caroline Kuchinski.
Thank you very much, Todd. Welcome, everybody. First and foremost, I want to give a big thank you to David Dietz. We are so fortunate to have David Dietz as a consultant for the Pennsylvania Department of Education. He is a wealth of knowledge and has supported so many of the key initiatives for Pennsylvania AFERD. As you note on this slide, I consider him the wise owl of the SLO process. I truly learned so much from him with the new teacher effective evaluation system. So it was really important that I said my big thank you to him. The overview of, I'm sorry, can we go to the next? This webinar presentation, everybody, we're going to first review some key concepts that David Dietz covered last week during the webinar, an overview of the SLO, Student Learning Objective Process, specific SLO example for 12th grade physical education, and specific SLO example for 3rd grade. Please note, everybody, that I will have scheduled opportunities for each and every one of you to ask questions throughout the PowerPoint presentation, but please bear with me because there's a lot of information that I have to cover in this short period of time. So I will have these scheduled question and answer sessions going. Okay. So here, there are a couple of slides that I think are definitely worth reviewing from David Dietz's webinar last week. And this, everyone, gives the big picture of what we're all dealing with right now with the teacher effective system. And if you look right here on the left on the purple, each and every one of you already this year should be dealing with the new teacher observation that's happening with Danielson's framework. All of you should be very well aware and, like I said, totally immersed. Some of you might be involved with this observation system with using the clinical supervision. Some of you are doing the differentiated type supervision. I'd like to draw your attention, though, over to the right side of this pie chart. More importantly, into the green phase and to the blue part of. So if you're looking here, the key element in this slide that I want you to focus in is that elective data, that 35% elective data, that you're going to be held accountable for within the new teacher effectiveness system. Health and Phys Ed is an academic standard. You're all aware of that, as stated in Chapter 4. But we're not an academic testing area like math, reading, writing, and science. Because of this, our discipline will be held accountable for the design and implementation of SLOs, the student learning objectives. Okay, so yes, health and phys ed teachers, you will be designing and implementing a new SLO. And let me go to the next. And here again on that green phase, green phase right here, this is the 35% that you will collect data on student achievement, and it will be collected through these new SLOs, student learning objectives, is the process through which these performance measures are going to be used to gather the data for the elective portion of the new teacher evaluation system. So another slide that Dave shared with us last week. Again, everybody, somewhere in this whole new teacher evaluation system, every single teacher is going to design an SLO. In addition, I just want to note that for the physical education teachers, yes, we're going to be held accountable to assess in all the domains, the cognitive, psychomotor, and the affective. So yes, you will be using paper and pencils in your physical education classes to collect this evidence on student achievement. And I know this is going to be a huge paradigm shift for several physical education teachers. So I hope as I take you through this process tonight, when we're talking about SLOs, we'll discuss some of those challenges that we're going to have. And that brings me into the next slide. And on here, there are many challenges and concerns to be addressed. And as I'm going through this, I'm going to ask Todd to also assist with this PowerPoint, this particular slide dealing with the challenges and concerns. Todd is part of the pilot program, so he can also give a little bit more information of what's going on with some of these challenges and concerns. So for example, for number one, the number of SLOs to be completed each year. Some people, since we're a non-tested area, we're hearing rumors that, hey, we have to complete more than one SLO. We might have to do several SLOs. And you need to know right now, the number of SLOs to be completed each year, they're still trying, Pennsylvania Department of Legal Counsel is still trying to determine that. But from the latest of my reviews that I went through, it was stated that you would have to do one SLO with multiple performance indicators or multiple SLOs, each with one performance indicator is strongly suggested. And again, everybody, I'm just giving an overview here. You will fully understand exactly what an SLO is, and you'll fully understand the template and how you will design these performance indicators. So just bear with me. Another one, I want to be upfront with this. SLOs and designing SLOs, it's really time consuming and it's difficult. For tonight's webinar, I purposely picked a brand new 12th grade SLO that I thought was really important for all high school teachers. And as I went through this process, I spent a lot of time revising and redoing it, but I did it on purpose because I actually wanted to go through each one of the steps so I can share with you some of the things that you are going to have to, be cognizant of when you're developing your SLO. A big one, huge question. How will I'm sorry, let me backtrack there. I just want to also let you know, I'm going to share with you tonight, PDE has done an amazing job in developing an extensive online library of SLO resources. And I'm going to share where a lot of those resources are. They really need to be commended for what they have done in this area to share these resources. A big major concern, and I'm hearing and I'm talking to lots of administrators already in my area in Monroe County, is how is this SLO process going to be monitored? The principals, right now, it's going to be through the principals and or a district assigned evaluator. So right now, you all know what our principals are going through dealing with the teacher effectiveness system on teacher performance with Danielson's model. It's huge, very time consuming, lots of time spent. Now, the principals they just went out in the last 2 months to be trained on how they have to provide in service to their teachers on this new SLO process because this is going to be a reality starting in next fall, 2014. So you can imagine where the principals are coming from. Whew, I just did the Danielson. Now I've got to schedule all these in services and I've got to get all that my teachers on board with this SLO. Todd, you're part of the pilot program. If you would be willing to share some of your concerns that you've seen and some of the challenges as a pilot.
Sure. I think one of the other challenges that you're going to see as well is also the Act 93 employees, which would be the principals and district level administrators, are going to be falling under a new evaluation system as well as part of the new teacher effectiveness program through PDE. So in addition to learning this SLO process, they're going to be learning their own evaluation process and continuing to work through the Danielson framework as they are this year. I mean, in my school district, for example, I think the Danielson framework is going quite smoothly. There are some, glitches here and there, but by and large, running smoothly. One of the chief concerns that we found in the pilot program was rubric construction. That was one of the things because all along there, most of you, if you have good assessments already in physical education or health, then most of the good assessments with very little editing will be able to translate into these SLOs. You'll have to use the template, and you'll have to work it into the template. But if you have good assessments already, the framework and the mindset won't be that big of a shift. But what we found in the pilot program in all subjects, not just physical education, but social studies, which was part of our program, and there was a science group as well, was rubric construction. People were using rubrics with does X task sometimes, does X task often, does X task most of the time. And with those vague terms like that, not measurable, that we found, and that was across the board. We had physical education ones that were set that way, as well as science and social studies, and we really had to look hard at the rubrics and how they were constructed. So I think that's going to be a major concern and a major focus for many people, because I think in your own classroom, it's easy to understand what most often and sometimes means because you work every day with these terms and these kids, but I think when you put it into the SLO, you'll have to define that.
Okay. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's get into what is an SLO. And Dave Dietz shared this last week, and I love this overview definition of an SLO, student learning objective. It's a process to document a measure of educators' effectiveness based on student achievement of content standards. But what's more important to me is I like how he has this backward design going. If you could look at the white 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you're looking at this is a great relationship to Wiggins and McTighe's understanding by design. So Wiggins and McTighe, with the understanding by design, would identify stage one. Stage one is identifying this desired result. Well, here in stage one, that for us, everybody, are our content standards. So what is it that we want students to know and be able to do? Stage two, this backward design on Wiggins and McTighe, deals with, they talk about what is the acceptable evidence. All right, how are you going to demonstrate, key, that you have impact student learning? Stage three, backwards in this understanding by design, is Wiggins and McTighe goes, now you have to have appropriate learning and teaching strategies that you are going to use in your classroom. So again, that you are impacting student learning. So to take that a step further with SLOs, some of the key elements of an SLO. You have to definitely have clear identification of the student population that you are going to work with. You have to have a specific time period of tracking. Number three, assessment of student progress. Accountability is going to be huge for physical education. We need to show evidence of student learning in meeting the Pennsylvania standards. Again, I agree 100% with Todd. I think this is going to be one of the biggest challenges, not only that we are going to follow through with our assessments, but to develop some really good rubrics that are going to work. So when I'm talking and taking you through a specific example tonight with the SLO, keep that in mind as we are developing these assessments and certain scoring guides and instruments, that you want to definitely collaborate with your peers. Right now, I'm seeing with a lot of school districts in the last 5 years, they've changed and really worked hard in changing their curriculum to truly be a standard-based curriculum K through 12. And through that process of following the UBD design, all these school districts had to develop assessments, appropriate assessments, to collect this evidence. So for the school districts that have already done this process, I really believe you are going to find this transition and these developments of some of these SLOs is going to be a lot easier for you. Okay, next, everybody, is the rigorous achievement or growth expectations of students. You are going to find with the SLOs, you are going to have to put an element in of what growth you want to see with your students, and then at the end, the mastery, the expectations. So some people might say, hey, I'm going to set my expectations really low because it's going to be based on my teaching evaluation. Again, you want to make sure, and I'll state this when I take you through an actual example, you want to make sure that there is rigor, and here you are going to have major communication with your principal and or the person from the school district who's going to assist with this student learning objective evaluation system. Okay. 5, you want to have a really strong rationale for expected student growth. And without a doubt, you want to make sure that you have a great repertoire of strategies for achieving the SLO, where you're going. Okay, I'm now going to actually get into the application part and move into the web and show you some key parts of the website. But before I do that, okay, there. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. Great. Okay, now I'm actually into the web page. As I'm going through some key elements, I want all of you to know at the end of tonight's presentation, I'm going to share everything with you. You're going to get this PowerPoint, and in addition, I'm going to actually give you the SLO I developed. I'm going to give you the performance indicators, but I also did another handout for you. I did another handout of exactly what I'm taking you through right now. So you can share, or when you have a department meeting, one of you could lead going through this template. So that's something that each and every one of you will get at the end. So all of you are very familiar with the Standards Aligned System portal. I know that for a fact, so all of this has already been online, has been developed in, let's say, the last 5 years. Lots of school districts have been working on changing their curriculums, and the curriculum framework has been critical in helping us to develop some of our big ideas, going down to essential questions. We have some great assessments here. of course, all the academic standards. But what I want to bring you into is getting into the SLO process. So the first thing that you're going to do here, everybody, is you're going to go into the Student Learning Objective homeroom. And once we get into this homeroom right here, you're going to click on, again, Student Learning Objectives for the Teacher, into the homeroom base. And prior to all of you getting into this page, I want you to know if it's your first time, there's going to be a page before that's going to have you log in. So you're going to have to develop a login using your email address and then your own password. I've already been in here practicing with Todd, going back and forth. That's why I'm already in. So right here, once I go in here, you are going to see that there is going to be 3 broad areas in the SLO. And again, everybody, the Pennsylvania Department of Ed has done an amazing job providing a lot of resources. When we're in the design box, I want all of you to think that the design block as the thinking step. This is the thinking step. You first need to develop a goal statement that reflects the big idea and aligns with the Pennsylvania standards for physical education. Always remember that the big idea is essential to the developing of the enduring understanding of an SLO. Then you're going to see the second block that deals with the building. The build block is where you're going to find all the necessary tools to help you to develop these SLOs. Then, and I'll take you into each one of these in a minute, then you have this other box, the review. Here, you're going to find some great tools to help you to refine, to check your SLO, to update your SLO, to make some final edits, and to finalize your SLO. So here, everybody, if I click on first, and I'm going into the design, you are going to notice in each one of these blocks, it's going to have 4 key elements. It's going to have videos for taking the training. It's going to have amazing cheat sheets for you. It's going to have templates to help you, and it's going to have other resources. Because of the time element, everyone, the videos, just so you are aware of, I'm not even going to click it on. Right now, they're just PowerPoint resources. The actual videos of our trainers across the state of Pennsylvania are actually, they're doing the live videos now. They're going to be uploaded, I heard, through David Dietz in the next 2 weeks. Okay, some of the cheat guides right here, if I go down in the design, here you can look and go for just the first part of the design. You can look at some examples of goal statements that people have used. So for example, the blueprint example for one of the SLOs that Dave shared with you last week, he went through an SLO dealing with the 9th grade, okay? So you will see more of those examples coming up really soon. Wait. All right, Todd, I'm trying to get out of this.
If you want to get out of it, you just stop sharing.
Okay, I did. I
Oh, all
got
right.
it. I got it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Todd. I'm
No,
sorry. I
that's
got it.
okay.
Thanks.
Some of it's just a bandwidth thing. It'll just pause and depending
Okay.
on what's going on.
Okay. All right. Everybody, as you know, this is my first webinar, so I apologize for some of these technical errors. All right. And then everybody, so on here, you'll see some cheat sheets. You'll also see some templates. The block I really want to stress tonight is going into the building, because the build, everybody, okay, let me open it to this. Good. The building is going to set up the scenes for you to actually start to develop your SLO. And again, I am guessing that most of the principals are going to, if they already haven't, you're going to have your training, your in-service training, April or May. It's coming quick. And the actual development of the SLOs, I am guessing, are going to happen with in-service trainings at the end of the year or hopefully at the beginning of the year as you're going through. So when I'm going down, the one I want to open right now is I want to open, and again, everybody, I have this on a great cheat sheet that you'll get at the end. So you don't really have to take notes, just watch what I'm doing. I'm going to open up the template. And when I go down to the template, the The two key templates that I want each and every one of you to make sure that you remember is template 4 right here and template 5, the performance task one. Because here, if you view, and I want when you open this, and I'm not going to open it because of the time, you're going to open it up. Well, let me view the template. I'm sorry. I will go to it. Here, you're going to go and open up the template, trust me on this, in a Word document. Always do your SLO with these two templates, Word document, because I cannot tell you in the last couple weeks how many revisions I made to the 12th grade. And it was so simple and it's so easy to do it. And also I keep it in that Word document, and actually as you're going through that final block of the review, it works out really well. Okay, so let me go out of this. So these will be the two templates that I will be focusing on big time to have you start developing your SLO. Okay, I'm going to return. Okay, in addition, everybody, again, right now there's only PowerPoints in this building block. Videos will be uploaded. And the other area I want to show you under the build block is critical are guides. And the reason I want to show you these guides because physical education has been moving pretty quickly. We already have a physical education example up for 3rd grade, and we already have one up for 9th. My 12th grade one, after I get some feedback from the group tonight, will also be shown. And I'm in the process of almost finishing another one at the 6th grade level. All right, so we should at least have 4 benchmark good, I hope good, SLOs that people can review. Okay. And then everybody in the last block, one of the key elements that I want when we go to the review block, I want to share with you. Hey, okay, good, we're there. Is on the review, I want you to open up and go to guide. And on the guide, one of the checklists that truly, truly helped me out after I did up my SLO on the Word documents and my performance indicators on that Word document, I went to this handout number 4, the quality assurance checklist, and I looked at this checklist and I wanted to make sure that some of the key elements of this checklist were included. Okay, were included in my SLO. So I have this, I have the cheat sheet to deal with the SLO procedures. Again, this was extremely valuable to look. I could double check and make sure that if I needed some additional help that I could go into the help desk. So again, dealing with this SLO in these 3 areas, I think you're going to find incredible resources. I hope the resource checklist that I'm going to give you at the end of the PowerPoint will also help you and your colleagues. Okay, I'm going to head back. All right, Todd, I'm going to ask you right now I'm going to stop sharing, go back to my PowerPoint. Okay, all right, again, everybody, this is just the overview of how important it's going to be to go into that homeroom. Telling each and everybody who starts with this SLO process, it's so worthwhile. There's lots of great resources. Again, an overview of everything in each one of the blocks of the design, the build, and the review. You will have video clips, you're going to have different guides, you're going to have templates, and you're going to have other stuff. Even under the stuff, other information, I'm finding that some of the leaders who are doing the training of the administration, they're actually putting some of their PowerPoints and their additional materials in this other stuff, which is wonderful. I think it's just going to help everybody. All right, before I actually get into the nitty gritty of the SLO that I worked on with 12th grade, this is the time I'd like to ask if there are any questions, and then we can open up to the group before I show an example. Any questions?
you have any questions, feel free to just type them down there in the chat box, and Caroline will get them answered for you.
I'll try to. Okay, well, if not, I am going to go with my 12th grade SLO example. All right, so what I decided to do is I wanted to go outside the box. I wanted to pick and start an SLO from scratch. So I told David Dietz, let me go through the process, and I think that made sense. So I could share some of the challenges and dilemmas that I had as I went through the process. So I chose a 12th grade phys ed, and again, everybody, I went to that build and I went to the Word document to go in the Word document for the SLO template, and I went to the student performance measure template. I, without a doubt, make sure you use the Word document. So easy to make major revisions anywhere that you want. Okay, so let's look at the grade level. I picked a high school level, and I'll tell you why I picked the high school level. I truly believe that every high school teacher has to promote an active and healthy lifestyle. If we made an impact and we did a really good job in high school, you're going to have those students continue to be actively involved. I'm going to use my son as an example. He's out of school, but in high school, when he was in his senior year, he came home, and my husband is also a health and phys ed teacher, and of course, you know, I'm in physical education. But where I knew that Pocono Mountain made an impact in the high school physical education program is when my son asked to join the local health club. I said, wow, really? Yes, Mom, we're setting up, we're doing this personal fitness program. I'm really into it, and I want to be able to. I thought, this is awesome. And that's what we all need to do. So I chose this 12th grade. Right here in this first slide, pretty easy. Simple demographics, physical education. I chose 12th grade. Total number of students, everybody. I'm dealing at the college level, so I am just taking out a district a supervisor in health and phys ed. So I'm looking at this 12th grade teacher has 100 students, typical class size 25. Typical for health high school that I'm at, they meet 2 times a week, and they're on a 45-minute duration. So the demographics, pretty simple. The SLL goal is critical. Before I get into the nitty gritty again of this specific goal and the rationale, please make sure the goal statement reflects the what, the why, and the how. So let me clarify that. The what. The what refers to the specific targeted standard. The why is the rationale. Why did I choose this standard? The how explains the importance of the specific standard or standards to student learning. How does this overarching goal impact student learning? So for this SLO, I chose to focus on 2 Pennsylvania standards. I focused on 10.512D, incorporate and synthesize knowledge of exercise principles, training principles, health and skill related fitness components to create a physical fitness program for personal use. 2, 10.412A, evaluate and engage in an individualized physical activity plan that supports achievement of personal fitness and activity goals and promotes lifelong learning. Now, you're probably wondering why I don't have 10.412A first. The reason I have the 10.512D first is because that matches in with my first performance indicator that I developed, and then my second performance indicator meets that evaluation level. This was tough because now I've got to get 12th graders right here to this evaluation level. And that's tough. That's high Bloom's taxonomy. So how do I do that? The goal statement is planning and implementing an individualized fitness plan helps to develop a solid foundation of knowledge and skills that impacts wellness throughout a lifetime. My rationale measures the student's ability to plan, implement, and evaluate an individualized fitness plan that impacts personal fitness and activity goals. The next part, of the template is going to ask you to identify your performance indicators. So the performance indicators, you are going to see that I have two key assessments. I have the first assessment is based on my personal fitness project. The second assessment is a final reflection evaluating the personal fitness plan. Here, I set the target as students must perform at distinguished or proficient level on the assessment. And you're going to see a range here. This will make more sense when I actually show you the analytic rubric that I set up and how I differentiated the different levels of performance. Target number 2, it's a final reflection, evaluating the personal fitness plan. And again, for this second one, I designed a holistic rubric. So I wanted to show you different ways that rubrics can be developed. I didn't identify a specific focus group, and I also didn't weigh. For example, in the weighing, let's say I felt the evaluation assessment 2 should be weighed a lot higher. So I could, and you could, when you're designing these SLOs, you could say, hey, I'm going to have this weighed 60% and the other one weighed maybe 40%. Okay, let me go to the next. Here, everybody, I'm going to start with the first quick overview. The actual nitty-gritty of this performance measure on assessment 1, I'm going to bring you into the second part. All right, so this again is just the template dealing with the SLO overview. So first on this performance measure, number 1, we have students doing a personal fitness project, and it includes the following 5 components. Number 1, they have to evaluate and interpret their current fitness status based on FitnessGram results or another fitness assessment instrument. They have to develop short and long-term goals for improving and/or maintaining fitness level. They have to have an actual design of a personal fitness plan. They actually have to implement their personal fitness plan. And after a 3 to 6 week period, they have to go back and reassess their plan. The second one, the performance measure number 2, is the final reflection evaluating the personal fitness plan. So here I checked off on the right the type, I have a student project, and I checked other, a final reflective analysis paper. Okay, purpose, number
We have a
1.
couple of,
Yep,
Caroline, we have a couple of
yeah,
questions
yep.
over here. And Martha raised her hand, so I'm going to activate her mic and see if
Sure,
she's
no
on.
problem.
Maybe she.
Sounds great, thank you. Go ahead.
So, Martha, I gave you a mic. If you're on, you can talk, or if you want
Yep,
to type it in the chat box if you don't have your mic. One of the questions over here, Caroline, is there any
uh-huh.
plans to revamp the PA standards in our area?
Okay, currently, not right now. Not right now.
Okay. Marcy asked a question. I
Yep,
answered it, but maybe you can
uh-huh.
confirm if I'm right. Are we permitted to use SLOs that are created by others? I said
Oh,
yes, but collaboration's encouraged.
oh yeah, collaboration's encouraged, and yes. Oh, of course, of course. Marcy,
Um,
to answer your question right there, all the work and all the templates that we already have for phys ed, we'll have, I hope, some good examples for 3, 6, 9, and 12. And again, some of you could look at it and go, wow, I would love to be able to do, basically the same thing. And yeah, and again, just collaboration and working with other people, without a doubt. We promote that. We think that's really important.
okay. Martha's
Mhm.
typing hers right now, so
Sure.
if we want to move forward, maybe we'll give her a chance to type, and then we can, right after you're done with this segment, we can come back to that.
Okay, that'd be great. That'd be
All right.
great. So let me just finish up the SLO template before I get in the performance measure. That'd be great. Okay, and again, everyone, the stage 4, you just have to identify the purpose. So again, I had the performance measure, the personal fitness project, and then evaluating and what the purpose is. And the metric that I'm using is without a doubt growth and mastery as they're going through this process. Administration, the first performance measure, the personal fitness project, is going to be administered as a part of instruction throughout the semester. And the final reflection, evaluating personal fitness plan, is going to be given at the end of the semester. Again, each and every one of you, you all are dealing with accommodations, and you've got to make sure that you're properly following through with the IEP accommodations and the English language learner accommodations that have been identified for your students. The resources and equipment, you've got to make sure that your administration knows ahead of time. Purchase a fitnessgram or another related fitness assessment instrument. I know in our Monroe County, lots of school districts have fitnessgrams, but we also have some high schools that have the Polar TriFit system and gets the same information. Again, scoring rubrics, you'll see in the performance measure, there's an analytic and a holistic. And again, just to go back to Todd, I think this is going to be the number one huge big challenge that a lot of educators are going to have in physical education, is to try to develop some really good scoring instruments that have some clear, well identified criteria. So if I'm using it and Todd is using it and we are assessing the same student, him and I can come out with some really strong high inter-rater reliability. And if we don't, then we got to look at that rubric and we have to redesign with clear criteria. The
And Carolyn,
administration, everybody,
I can add one more
sure,
thing too with that. One
sure,
of the
thanks.
things, one of my teachers when we were in the pilot program that was in our pilot group chose to do it on fitness scores because they do a pre-test, they do a test in the middle of the year, and then they do a post-test at the end of the year. So he thought, well, that's perfect. So he said, go with it. And what we discovered was the soccer kids, for example, came in August after playing soccer all summer in game shape, and their pre-test was outstanding. And then they finished their season, weren't doing anything for a while, and their post-tests were they actually went down. And what he was seeing is he was basing his rubric based on improvement of the test scores, and based on that, his SLO was gonna fall below into the middle two categories in his rather than distinguished. So that's one thing
Mm.
to be careful of because I know in physical education we do like to sometimes we like to hang our hats on the fitness scores, but that's a pitfall of doing that we discovered.
Oh, definitely. Oh, thanks, Todd. Good point. Everybody, I caution, I'm looking right down here where the administration is. Please, please, please make sure all of you put in that it's got to be administered by a certified physical education teacher. All right, so stick in that word. Certified phys ed teacher will collect data for student evidence for both the fitness project and the final reflection. And then the reporting, everybody right here, you'll see some good examples coming up online under the review on how you can do this. Right now, some of the summaries that we are doing, the summary of students, we're taking an Excel and we're using an Excel sheet, putting the student's name in, putting what their score is in, and then from that Excel, real easy for you to make a nice graph just to show the summary of those students. Okay, teacher expectations. This is one area of the overview of the SLO that definitely needs some clarification. Teachers, you, along with collaboration with your administration, are going to determine the percentage range of students that will reach their targets to determine whether the teacher is proficient. So you've got to set your target first. And you're going to notice when you go through, I'll go through the two examples of the performance measures. I set the target at 80% of the students will reach benchmark to be proficient. What is acceptable for a teacher to use for percentages? Great question. Really good question. I've already heard some of my colleagues out in the field, and I call them colleagues. I work, very close with a lot of the health and phys ed teachers. And hey, this is going to be easy. I'm just going to set my expectations low. So we don't want you to set your expectations low. We want you to set realistic yet rigorous achievement targets for your students. So identifying a baseline is going to be really important. So a diagnostic and a pretest is a great way to set a challenging, realistic baseline for our students. And again, everybody, the new SLO evaluator for the district and the administration in your building, they're going to collaborate with you and they're going to see and hope that you're setting realistic teacher expectations. Remember, we don't want to lose focus that we're doing this for a reason. We want to make sure that we see growth with all of our students. So here, everybody, this is the teacher expectation block. You will have to fill in the percentage rates of where you think students will be in each one of these areas. And then this is going to be related to your overall effectiveness with the teacher, with your administration and the teacher evaluation. Okay, now is when I want to get into the performance measure task template. And I'm only going to be, just because of the time constraints, I only really have time to show the performance measure task template for my first assessment. And then I'm going to have Todd pull up the performance measure task in a PDF file, which again, I stress to all of you, you're all going to have this. But before we start, let's open up Todd again. If we could open up again to some questions. That would be
Yep,
great.
Caroline, I'll
Thank
scroll
you.
back up. I've been watching them come in, so
Sure.
I'll scroll back up and we'll run through them. So, first one is from Martha Harris. It says, have the new national standards been factored into the SLOs for PE?
Okay, excellent. Yeah, as you're all aware, we have five new national standards. They've just been revised. Um, Martha, to let you know, right now they've just brought the five national standards have come to the forefront. And next week at the national convention, they're going to release all the templates of developing all the templates, I should say, to show the growth on meeting these NASP standards. And we're going to see that alive next week at St. Louis, and I really can't wait to see it. So I really hope from the feedback that we're getting from AFERD on these new national standards, yes, I'm praying that we can bring a lot of this information in and stress how important it is that we do look at our current physical education standards, health and physical education standards that we have for Pennsylvania. Because a lot of people would agree, hey, this would be a perfect time that we could look to make some revisions to our standards. So I hope I answered, but I really can't get in depth with it until I see everything next week at National, because they're releasing it. They're even releasing their new textbook. Um,
Okay, thanks, Caroline. Next one was from Carolyn. It says, great SLO for 12th grade, but what about those of us who don't have students in their 12th grade year?
mhm.
We are going to share the third grade. The third grade one is in the file share at the end.
Okay, great question. First of
All
all,
right.
you all know that I chose a 12th grade benchmark statement, but you need to know that you are moving toward that 12th grade benchmark from 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So if you don't have 12th grade, we're in that same boat here in Monroe County. There is not physical education in 12th grade, but they have physical education, and a lot of them are combined classes with 10th and 11th grade. So those 10th and 11th graders have to be able to achieve those 12th grade standards. So I'm just switching the grade, and that's all going to happen when you start really developing your curriculum, okay, that you're mapping out. So 10th, 11th are moving to 12th. We already know at the end of ninth grade that they had 7, 8, and ninth grade to meet the ninth grade standards. All right, so hopefully I answered that one.
Right. This one's from Craig Parks. It says, are
Uh-huh.
there any plans to provide an online location for HPE teachers to upload their SLOs for collaboration, sharing, good practice in a similar manner to the homeroom resources?
Excellent question. Right now, what they want to do is they want to have, they definitely want to put some more examples up for the SLO, and those examples are definitely going to be reviewed with a critical eye. And one of the individuals that is going to review them with a critical eye is going to be David Dietz to get those up. But eventually, yes, we do want to have a resource that we could share. And if I have time at the end, I could share with you. We have a toolbox in the SAS portal, on the Standards Line System portal. You can go into a teacher's toolbox, and in this toolbox, there's a great opportunity for all of us to be able to drop some of our SLOs that we develop. The Pennsylvania AFERD organization, we have two. Todd has done an amazing job bringing everybody on board with the new use of technology. So we're talking too, hey, what a great way that we can also develop a Dropbox for our professionals to review one another's SLOs and to get some really great ideas. So yes, we're in the talking stage of that, and I really believe having Todd as our leader, that will definitely be a reality. Hope I
Caroline,
didn't put you on the
actually,
spot
we're
there,
actually
Tom.
having we're actually having a conversation right now. I was having a private conversation with one of the people who helps me with the website about looking for a way to do that, and we're going to explore some options, and probably we'll have something ready to go for the beginning of the school year. So that will happen on the PS Aford website, PennsylvaniaAford.org, and also to mention your SAS portal that you were talking about. I will be
Yep.
including a PowerPoint at the end of the night in the file share that David Dietz created that will show you exactly how to get to what you're talking about, and that will be free to download at the end.
Okay, fantastic. I'm a
So,
true believer, and I think Todd agrees. I'm a true believer. Hey, we all have to help one another with all of this, and collaboration is key. So I can't tell you, as being a college professor, what I learned being out on the field and watching the practitioners in action. It's totally invaluable, and I love it. And so it's constantly a give and take, and we always have to be promoting that. So good. All right, let
all
me
right.
take one more. If I could just take one more question, because I really want to get through this performance measure so everybody really sees what happens with this.
Yep. Next one's from Angelo Lafrada. It says, do we have to
Mhm.
use nationally recognized fitness programs, or we use our own data standards? We have scores that go back almost 10 years.
Oh, great question. Yeah, you could. You definitely could. And that would be, again, dialogue that you would have with your administration and why you want to use that. Yes.
Cool. All right, there's a bunch more, but we can come back then. We
Okay.
can come back at the end, and folks, keep the questions coming. I'm watching them all come in,
Okay.
and we will pull them up at the end and make sure we
Okay.
get everybody their answers.
All right, thank you so much, because I just want to make sure that I get through this and we can continue. All right, so performance measure task, everybody. Again, you're going to go to the build. You'll end up going to that build block under that homeroom site. And under there on that homeroom site, you're going to go to that template. And from that template, you're going to go to the Word document. And trust me, use the Word document so you can make the revisions. And you're going to start to develop all the criteria that you need to have in the performance measure. I want to stress with you the first template I showed you, the overview of the SLO, that part is pretty easy to do. This is the element that, wow, I need to tell you, it was good. It was a great practice for me because I spent lots and lots of time on changing this and making major revisions. So let's look at the first one, the personal fitness project, assessment one. Again, you already know the two identified standard statements and you already know the rationale. So again, that all that information right here in the performance is also included on the overview of the SLO. Okay, next, the frequency, the task, and the resource. Again, all information already saw in the overview. Again, making you think through the process of developing. The task scenarios. Here is where, in here, from this step forward, is really what you have to think about how you are going to do this, how you're going to design, and how you're going to implement this performance indicator. So here, when I was designing this, I was thinking, okay, I want to make this so clear that if anybody else wanted to use this, that they would have no problem understanding the task and the process that you go through. So first on assessment, the personal fitness project. Students will begin the fitness project at the beginning of the semester, and they'll continue the semester to implement the fitness project. Process steps. The process steps, everybody, make these as clear as possible. Really clear. Again, so anyone would be able to follow it. And I think it's really important for us. So we also show our administration, hey, this is what we're all about. So real clear with these steps. So here you'll see on step one, the students have to interpret the results of the FitnessGram assessment tool. Based on the personal scores for each of the health-related components of fitness assessment, students will develop appropriate short and long-term goals for improving and/or maintaining fitness level. They'll share these goals with the teacher and with classmates to make appropriate changes if necessary. After the students have finalized their personal fitness goals, they're going to design their own personal fitness program. Students will appropriately apply the following for each health-related component. the FIT guidelines, and the training principles of progression, overload, and specificity. Next, they'll design and submit their personal fitness program incorporating the following 5 items. Now here, again, make it super clear, really clear, the process steps, and also very clear so your students understand the process that they're going to go through to complete this project. So here, they have to design their program, they have to have appropriate warm-up and cool-down, they have to have activities to develop or maintain muscular strength, muscular endurance, they have to have activities to increase or maintain cardiorespiratories, activities to enhance or maintain flexibility, a list of preferred activities to personally implement the plan outside of class, a realistic time schedule, what, when, where, and how, a fitness log that relates to the above components and includes fit criteria. For every one of those steps, you can find great resources out there to help students going through step by step. So I didn't include all of those additional resources. I gave some of the key resources at the end of the PowerPoint where all of you can investigate, and you will see some great handouts to help you through all of that. Next, the students will implement their personal fitness program based on class performance and outside participation as recorded. And then again, after a 3 to 6 week period, students will have to reassess their performance on each of the health-related components. They're going to have to make appropriate adjustments to their goals and or fit guidelines and training principles. So that's a critical step right down here. And I know some people, I put after 3 weeks, and it was great. I shared this SLO last week with David Smith, and he's a high school phys ed teacher. His input was wonderful. Hey, Carolyn, that's a little unrealistic. We're dealing, I said, okay, so what would be realistic? Anywhere from 3 to 6. I said, fair, that's great. So again, from collaborating with one another, you'll get a lot of really great ideas. Okay, then everybody, this next part, and I'm not going to read this verbatim because you're going to see it. I'm going to give a copy of all of this. But for this performance, I developed an analytic rubric. Analytic, and I tried really, really hard to make the criteria extremely clear. So again, if I was using this instrument and I asked Todd to use this instrument, we got this fitness project in from a student, him and I were right on target. And if we weren't, then we got to go back to this criteria and we've got to look at the criteria and make sure we have really well defined. So here, if you look at the evaluation of the currents, they provided an analysis for all 5 components. Here, they developed, using the SMART principle, they developed specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goals for all 5 of the components. The next element, we got into their design of the fitness plan, incorporating all of those 5 elements of the warm-up, muscular strength, etc. And then criteria for distinguished. We got the criteria for proficient. What is the criteria for needs improvement? Okay, so again, so you can really differentiate between what would this distinguished look like and what would this proficient look like. Because again, my target is that I want 80% of the students to hit 80% or above to hit that proficient and distinguished level. Okay. And then again, the 5th part was the personal fitness log. Okay. Allow the fitness plan for all 5 items above, had realistic time schedule, etc. And then the last part of the project dealt with the reassessment after 3 to 6 weeks. Did they set or modify the fitness goals at the end of 3 to 6 weeks? Did they appropriately set or modify the fitness activities using the fit guidelines and exercise principles? Then you got a total score and bring it right down here. You've got to make sure then from that total score that you are differentiating what a distinguished would look like, where would they score to a proficient, to needs improvement, to unacceptable. Okay, that's with the first performance. So I took step by step using that template. And now what I'm going to do is ask Todd. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot 2 steps. I apologize. The scoring guides, again, physical education teachers will collect evidence. They're going to collect the artifacts from the personal fitness project and use the scoring rubric, the analytic rubric, to assess the product. And again, you're going to provide a summary list of students that scored at the proficient and distinguished level. And for the second performance, I didn't go through step by step here. I'm going to ask Todd right here to pull up the PDF so we can look at that real quick. And on here, okay. Thank you, Todd. Here, everybody, this is just a good, on the second assessment, the final reflection. This is just a good overview of the template. So here's the template, here's the second assessment, and I'm going through step by step. Trust me, when you go through this process, this is going to be the areas, the performance measures, that you're going to spend a lot of time in. All right, so here when you're moving down to the process, oops, sorry. The process at the end of the semester, students are going to have to retake a fitness assessment. Students will then compare and contrast their individual results with their initial personal fitness plan that they designed and implemented throughout the semester. Students will then write a final reflection answering these questions. So there in the process step, how are you going to get students at 12th grade to that evaluation? So as an outside assignment, if you look at in the process step, look at number 3. As an outside assignment, students will write a final reflection regarding their initial personal fitness plan and final assessment fitness scores by answering the following 4 open-ended questions. 1, did you improve or maintain your fitness status? What evidence do you have for this justification? What changes would you make in your plan to set new goals and to determine what needs to be done to maintain or improve your current level? And I'm looking at A, and I should probably put in also, did it decrease? Okay. How would you continue to participate in your personal fitness plan over the next 5 years? And I think that is critical. High school, we want to know, what are you going to do after you graduate? If we made an impact here in 12th grade, wow, hopefully they're going to continue. And then D, describe the value of the cycle of planning, implementing, and evaluating fitness plans to maintain health-enhancing levels of fitness throughout life. Okay, the teacher then, of course, is going to have a rubric, and I just want to share on this second one, and again, you'll have plenty of time to look at this on your own, is here I attempted a holistic because I wanted to really make sure that the students are getting up to that evaluation. And one piece of suggestion I got from Dave Deach, which I thought was wonderful, when he was looking at the criteria in the advanced here, they answered all 4 probing questions, and then you have different evidence. But go to the last sentence at the end of advanced. They presented information in a style and tone that demonstrates literacy in the discipline of physical education and consistent use of mechanics of writing at a high school level. I thought, wow, that's really great information. All of us right now, when we're looking at our curriculum, all of you last year, you all had to identify how we are bringing in the literacy into the physical education, our health and physical education. So we should show that we're also promoting that field of literacy. So I know what I just did. It was what I call a Cliff Note version, real fast of an overview. But I think it's really important, and so does Todd, that we try to answer as many questions as you have. So Todd, would this take me back to stop sharing, take me back to the PowerPoint?
Yeah, hang on. I'll just
Thank
pop it
you.
right back up for you.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And you want to take some questions while we do?
Yes, I do. Yep.
All right. Let's go back up here.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Next one is from Jen. It says, I think it may be beneficial to share some formative assessments that will be used to create and build the SLOs.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. Yes, I agree 100%.
Next one from
So,
Kathy.
yep,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
McGinley. Hi,
hmm
Kathy. Go ahead.
It says, what about consistency across the district? Shouldn't everyone have the same rigorous standard?
Oof, boy, that's a great question. That's a great question. I hope through the training that's currently happening right now with the administration, that the Pennsylvania Department of Education is really defining for the administrators what is rigor, what is fair, and what is rigor for the performance. And right now, I honestly can't answer that for you. So it's going to be interesting what's coming out from the administrators that are being trained and how they are going to establish that rigor with performance.
And Kathy, to add
Todd,
to
I
that,
don't know if you could answer that, Todd. Yeah.
yeah, I can answer. I can add to it. I don't know
Okay.
that I can answer it clearly, but I know the district, the superintendents that have been in my district, have been discussing actually having people write SLOs for specific courses, for specific
Okay.
subject matters, and then handing them to the people. And, rather than worry about the quality of the writing from all, handing them some SLOs and saying, "Here's what you're doing." So there's some talk of that. It's kind of the whole standardization of education type of thing. But we haven't come to a final determination yet. I personally have been arguing against standardizing it because
Mm.
I don't think education is one size fits all. So that's just my opinion.
No, no, good point. Good point. Great questions. Anything else?
Next one comes from Lucinda
Okay.
Iezzi, and it says, "What if grade levels are combined through your phys ed classes? For example, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders in
Uh-huh.
each class,
Mhm.
in each and every class."
Okay. Um, that's really common in my area. That's happening right now. You just have to move toward the 12th grade standards. So while you're looking to develop this SLOs and you have 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th grade students are moving anyway toward that 12th grade standard. So move them to that 12th grade standard, and that's all you can do. That's a scheduling issue. It seems to be happening more and more.
Well, and
Sorry to say, but yeah.
additionally too, the SLO is not required to do for your entire class. So
Right.
you could do the sample of 10th graders that is in your class. It just has to be, you're not really supposed to even go over 100 kids.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there, Todd, you taught me something. I was not aware of that. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
it
up
had to
to,
be a sample from that. If I had 10th, 11th, and 12th graders in the same class and I'm using this class to collect, I thought it had to be the whole class. So, okay. Thanks.
yeah,
Thanks for the clarification.
it
Okay.
certainly can be, but the
Okay.
SLO itself is up to 100 kids.
Okay.
They haven't really set minimums yet because for example, some of the special education teachers and so on have classes of 4 and 5, so they haven't
True.
set minimums, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
definitely so.
And I
Um,
and I know too that right now there's a lot of questions and concerns, and the Pennsylvania Department of Ed, the legal counsel, are trying to address those issues. So we're hoping in the next couple weeks when this is being rolled out in the local school districts that a lot of these answers are going to be clarified through the legal counsel of professional, the Pennsylvania Department of Ed.
all right. Here's one
Mhm.
from Scott. It's more of a comment, but it says in his district the administration is requiring that SLOs are the same. For example, SLO for seventh grade health must be the same for all teachers in both middle schools that teach that course. So yeah, I would venture to say I wouldn't be shocked that many school districts end up doing the standardized SLOs.
Hmm. And my perspective, this is my personal bias. I like the idea that everyone's collaborating and
Yeah.
helping one another, but to have it standardized, and I totally disagree with that. But again, that's my biased opinion.
No, and I would agree. Having gone through it myself, I mean, it's kind of like for me when I think about it that way, and when we discussed that, I know one of the things that came up was it was kind of like for anybody that's ever been a substitute teacher or tried to
Mm,
teach somebody else's lesson plan, there's something about writing your own lesson plans that helps you do a better job in the classroom when you're teaching someone else's lessons. There's always something missing. So it's
yeah, yeah,
you know,
good
I agree
point.
with that. All right, let's see if I can find some more. See the issue of flexibility. Great help. Um, Is there currently anywhere to share formative assessments? And that one comes from Jen.
Okay, great question, Jen. Jen, if you go right now to our, you know what, Todd? Can I share and switch back to the PDE SLO to answer this question?
Yep. You want the
Okay,
12th
great.
grade one?
Nope, 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 nope. Sorry, I'm going to go. No, I'm going to go back to the website. Okay,
Oh, yep. All
is
right.
that
Go
all
ahead.
right? All right.
Yep.
So share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to go back to. Yes. Okay, great. All right, Jen. Only resource right now, and it's pretty strong, but it deals with the overview. If you go to the SAS portal and you click on assessment, and underneath assessment, let me get my full page up right now. Okay. Why is this not showing? Under this assessment, you can see some overview of some formative assessments that are used in a variety of the disciplines. So this is one I want you to go to. Other formative assessments, particular for health and phys ed, no, right now we don't have a website to dump. I would ask, since I think Pennsylvania AFER is going to take the lead on this, and we're going to try to get some really good examples in of SLOs, that we also could set up a Dropbox for different assessments. So I would say diagnostic and summative assessments and formative, because formative assessments are critical. So great. Another one I want to show you right here on the Pennsylvania website. Right here is that a teacher's tool that I was telling you about. And right here, there is access for all of you to have your own little Dropbox on certain things. So the Pennsylvania Department of Ed, I think once we get into this SLO, that's another vehicle that we could really start to utilize a little bit more to assist us in getting some good SLOs and good diagnostic, formative, and summative assessments online. So great question. Are we there? No, we're not. We need to do a little bit more on that. Um, Also, everybody, no, I want to go back. Okay, let me show all the content. One more thing that I just want to show the group, because I had this as one of my goals tonight. You're going to go into the homeroom slide, homeroom box. Right here, we got the homeroom box. I'm going to go back to build. And it's not opening right now. Let me open it here. All right. I want to come down here to the template. And one other aspect that I thought, oops, I am sorry, I didn't want template. I apologize. I want to go down to guides. And as I go down to the guides, here, everybody, these are going to be reviewed really with a critical eye, some of the model ones. And again, one of our charges for physical education, we want to make sure at least we have one for the benchmark years of third, 6, 9, and 12. And currently we have the 6 and 9. 12th will be posted. And a couple of us are working on a 6th grade one. And we actually went outside the box on the 6th grade one, and we went to, you'll see, lead up activity, lead up game activities dealing with game strategies. So here, I want everyone to make sure, please, my elementary teachers, this was developed by Sue Sheemer. She's in the Bloomsburg area school district, and she did an amazing, extremely comprehensive SLO for 3rd grade. And this is a really good 3rd grade example that each and every one of you should, especially elementary teachers, because I look at the standards that she chose to develop this as being one that definitely can be carried over for a long period of time through the academic school year. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows where this 3rd grade is, and on your own time, that you have plenty of opportunities to review some of these examples that we currently have.
I'll be sharing the 3rd grade one in the
Sure.
packet at the end of the night as well.
Oh, you are? Terrific.
Yep.
Okay, thanks,
Yep.
Todd. I really appreciate that. And
Um,
Todd, could we now go back to the PowerPoint?
yep. Just
Stop
click
sharing?
stop
Okay.
sharing. Yep. And we'll pull up. You want to do a couple more questions? There aren't any more.
Sure. Yep. Sure.
Okay. So
If I
let's see.
can
It
answer
says,
them.
yep,
Okay.
this
Go
says
ahead.
from Laurie Shoemaker. Laurie Shoemaker says, do you
Hi,
assume that
Laurie.
we will be asked to focus on one grade level? She teaches K to 4 and she'll be writing SLOs for all of her classes or maybe just grade 3 at this time.
Mhm. Okay, great question. Laurie, my recommendation for you to start, it looks like you have your kindergarten, first grade, second, and third. I'd focus in on the third grade benchmark, because your fourth graders now are moving over and trying to achieve the sixth grade standards. So I'd focus in on the third grade. I'd go with SLO, focusing in the kindergarten, first, second, and third grade. That would be my advice. And I think administrator would agree with that. Todd, anything else?
No, I would say because of this, because it doesn't have to be all of your classes, all of your
Okay.
pupils.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You really can just pick a sample, either a sample within a class or, a second grade, a first grade, 30 kids, whatever. One class, Mrs. Smith's first grade class, Mrs. Jones's third grade class, and only do them.
Okay. Good.
All
Good
right.
advice. Good.
All right, so the next one, this one's from Carol McMillan. It says, my school
Mhm.
is considering cutting elementary PE to once every 6 days. Do you have any
Ugh,
suggestions for rubrics that would be effective with that type of schedule?
wow. Huh. Oh, great question. We too in Monroe County are dealing with the school district. Same exact same thing happened. They switched 2 day phys ed to once in a 6 day cycle. So look at that. Once in a 6 day cycle. Realistically, we're looking at what? Maybe a total of 38 classes. Your big challenge is going to be what is the big enduring understanding goal that you want to achieve for those students. So at elementary level, that third grade example, definitely make sure you review that. Because I look at the key enduring, you want to make sure you're looking at those locomotor, non-locomotor, and those manipulative skills. That's going to be a premise for all skill development as we're moving. So yeah, that's huge, very challenging. We're in the exact same boat. Um,
We are
only
as
saving,
well.
you are too, yeah. Very
Yeah,
frustrating, really
yeah,
frustrating.
yeah.
My only saving grace is, and I'm conveying this, I'm working with, I teach seniors right now, and I'm trying to get them on board with all of this. And they're fortunate that they work with some great cooperating teachers in the area. So we made an agreement with the cooperating teachers that are our students and the corporate, we're going to try to work together to collaborate with developing some of these SLOs. So I'm excited about that process. But I also really believe that the SLO process is going to hold our field a lot more accountable. Um, I'm preaching to the choir right now. You're all online. You all care about what's happening here. So I'm looking at you as, wow, you're the elite. You're really promoting appropriate practices for physical education. Kudos to each and every one of you. But each and every one of us works with people that I call the roll out the ball mentality teacher. So I really believe that this is going to be a rude awakening. I was asked by one school district, I'll give you a great example. I was asked at one school district to go in and give a quick overview of the SLOs. Be more than happy to. Went in and I actually had a teacher look and say, you know what, there's no way I'm doing this. I guess I better retire. And I'm thinking, wow, wow, what a statement. And if you feel that strong, I didn't convey it, verbalize it, but let me tell you what I was thinking. You know what? Go ahead and retire so some of our students from East Stroudsburg University can get your position. But that's going to be some of the mentality. So I'm really hoping through this process that we're trying to be really proactive and look at it. Wow, this is, yeah, is it going to be challenging? Is it going to be hard? Without a doubt, it is. But if we collaborate and we work together and develop some really key performance indicators, I really believe this process, you know, can go really smooth. And we've got to get some of our colleagues, those roll out the ball mentality colleagues, we've got to get them on board. They've got to come on board the train now. And this is our time to do it. Todd?
Well said, Caroline. The
Thanks.
next one, I, I agree. The next one comes from Holly Anderson. It says, in reference to being realistic, I teach around 20 classes
Okay.
and counting getting dressed and only meeting two times
Uh-huh.
per week and trying to
Yep.
span many standards in a year. What modifications to your SLO would you suggest? For example, not including a diagnostic. I feel the school year could turn into mainly testing and explaining the parts of two assessments and not doing much else. So what suggestions, what
Yeah.
modifications would you suggest to yours based on that scenario?
Okay. Again, to develop this SLO, again, I would suggest that you pick a really good goal, a good enduring goal that you know can encompass, a greater period of time. What is that big enduring understanding that you really want our students to grasp? And you know what? To really get that benchmark, that task diagnostic is really critical. So if you're going to pilot, we're going to be able to pilot in just a group of students. You want to have to pilot with that group of students to get that baseline so you can make sure that you're setting up effective teacher expectation criteria. So, yeah, I agree. Extremely challenging. Monroe County, we're in the same boat. But my suggestion is to look at that enduring big goal overview that you really can focus in on developing this SLO. Todd, is there anything else any feedback that you can give?
Let's see. It's many thank yous, and also
Oh,
from
no, no, no,
Carol.
no. Feedback for I'm sorry for answering
Oh,
that question.
oh, I got you, I got you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
Any additional feedback?
no,
Because you're going
I would,
through the pilot right now. You're dealing with some of your elementary teachers right now that are in that same situation.
yeah. With the elementary teacher, I mean, we're really falling behind in this pilot for the elementary teachers because we had 11 2-hour delays and 7 cancellations this year, and we don't have a modified schedule at the elementary level. So there are certain two of the teachers of the 3 teachers that were in the pilot program, 2 of them had classes that they've only seen twice since November, literally, and so we are running into some troubles with that, and so we're eliminating the diagnostic and just going towards just trying to show growth without that diagnostic,
Okay. Okay.
based on rubrics and observations. And is it easy? Is it valid? No, but these are the realities that we as physical education teachers at the elementary level deal with. So and
Okay.
and
Great.
and it's something that I think districts will have to address when this becomes a real part of our evaluation, because if you choose that segment of the population and whether Mother Nature is not good to you that year,
Hmm.
these are some things that we would have to deal with at the elementary level. Um,
Okay.
I mean, at the high school level with twice a week, we're making the diagnostics, doing them a lot at the beginning. Flipped classes is helping sometimes, that kind of thing. So.
Great. Listen, real quick, everybody. I know we're way over with the time. So again, at the end on the thanks PowerPoint that you're going to get is my email. Please, at any time, here, let me move forward. At any time, please feel free to email me and ask any questions. Todd is going to make sure that you have the overview PowerPoint, you have the 12th grade SLO, you have the 2 performance indicators, and also, everybody, I included a little cheat sheet guide for you to share with your colleagues to have them go through this process and really become familiar with the wonderful resources that PDE is providing for the SLO process. I apologize. I feel like I've never done a webinar before, but I feel like I've gone so fast because there was so much information to cover. And I apologize for that. But again, please, please make sure you email me. I'm pretty good at getting back at emails, and I will share anything I possibly can to make this process, that you feel more comfortable with this process. But thank you so much for your cooperation. And Todd, thank you. First time ever doing this, and you guided me through. Thank you.
Folks too, you're welcome, Caroline. Absolutely. And folks at the bottom, I've just put up the files. You should have a button available to you called Download All, and you can download all of the files. Caroline's PowerPoint is not in the download, but I will make sure that I send that out when I send the recording out. Probably won't send the recording out till tomorrow in case we get a few late registrations tonight that want to see the recording. And folks, we are kind of wrapping up, but there are still some questions that we haven't yet answered. So if you want to hang around and keep asking questions or listen to the answers that are coming in, we'll be happy to make sure that we get these questions answered, because we really want you to walk away feeling like you've gotten what you came here for. So we'll just run through these real quick. And Caroline, if you do you mind staying and
Oh,
answering
no,
these?
no, no, no,
Okay.
absolutely. I'm fine. Yep.
All right.
Thank
So
you, everybody. For everybody who has to drop out.
all
You're
right.
not offending us at all.
Oh. So the next one comes from Carol McMillan. It says, when should we expect the sixth grade SLO example?
Oh boy. I am gonna say in about probably about 3 more weeks. 3 more
Okay.
weeks. I'm collaborating with 2 other people, and so we're